Thank you very much, Madam House Chair. Madam House Chair, even before the pandemic and the ANC's lockdown crisis, South Africa's financial situation could only be described as precarious. Unemployment and poverty were at record highs, corruption was rampant, and a grim national mood had set in. However, at the start of the pandemic, the perception of a president in charge with a plan made some people hope again. And citizens believed that we could withstand the hardship of lockdowns because the government had a plan. After all, things were moving quickly, decisions were being made quickly, and there was the perception of a plan. How wrong this turned out to be. There was no plan. It was all makeshift, making it up as you go along, and here we are back to square one. The second adjustment division of revenue bill
I have run a bit this morning.
is a slash and burn budget. I say this because critical budgets are being slashed, while cash is being burnt on corrupt and failing SOEs at a time when poverty and misery is worse than it's ever been. 350 Rand a month cannot lift the national mood or stave off the simple facts. The ANC has systematically destroyed large-scale employment over time. They've introduced rigid laws that deter investment in hiring and have spent the country into near bankruptcy. And this is being overseen by a kleptocratic elite who use racialized politics as a fig leaf to cover up their real failures. And the gall of the ANC speakers today to say that their slash and burn approach to budgeting was because money wasn't going to be spent anyway. Well, let me put it into perspective. The ANC today said the 336 million Rand being cut from the school infrastructure grant wasn't going to be spent anyway. So to every school child in this country who has a pit latrine and not a toilet, the ANC had no intention in their budget of ever building you toilets. This is the situation we're in. We have a government. I'm hearing heckles from the ANC side because they cannot stand the truth. They had no intention of building toilets for school children. They were going to always choose a failing airline over school children. Another egregious cut, and the gall to say this money was never going to be spent anyway, is 253 million Rand reduction in the public transport network grant. This ANC is telling the people of this country, and on the virtual platform, telling people of this country that they had no intention of making sure there's safe, accessible public transport because they want flights for the few rather than public transport for the many. The gall of this. The cuts to 180 million Rand from the municipal infrastructure grant at a time when local grids are failing, when municipal roads are littered with potholes, when towns are going for days and weeks without water and electricity. This ANC has the gall to say this money was never going to be spent anyway. There's one takeaway line we've heard repeated by every single ANC speaker. It is that this money was never going to be spent anyway. The ANC had no intention ever of spending money on the people. I see Honorable Buthelezzi's heckling quite loudly. He was the one who started with this line. The money was not going to be spent anyway. Remember those words when you go to the ballot box. So what we are others seeing as well, water. We've got a massive drought. 78 million Rand is being cut from the water service infrastructure grant. Towns, as I said earlier, go for weeks without water, and yet this money was not going to be spent anyway. The sorry state of affairs cannot continue. And South Africa deserves better than this corrupt system that benefits the ANC's elite and their pet projects like SAA. So the DA rejects this bill with the contempt it deserves, and we will be voting against it. Thank you.